Hello and welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Dan Vega, and this is my good buddy, Angel Pomales.
That's right. Welcome to the Spanglish Business Show.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. We're excited to be back.
That's
right.
right.
I feel like I haven't seen you in a bit.
No, I haven't seen you in a bit.
We skipped filming. I had a minor
situation.
Yeah, situation. A little. I don't mind talking about.
Okay.
So
what's your minor situation? Oh, by the way, before you go into your minor situation, what you did to your hair this week?
What do you mean?
It looks better now, man. Last time it was messed up.
The last time we filmed?
Your hair was messed up.
I don't know, dude.
It must be the new adventure that happened to you.
Yeah.
So tell us what happened to you,
I don't feel as good tonight, so I figure the hair better be spot on so I look a little...
So you're going to be like...
Look better than last week.
Okay.
Yeah, or last
All right.
time.
Sounds good.
Anyways, just to catch you up, and I gave you some basic details. I was in a car accident... what was it? A few days ago, last Thursday, and it's a whole thing. But I was in a lane, I was merging over, and somebody was speeding, and it winds up that we got into a collision. She hit us right in my door, about 45 miles an hour, and it's a whole deal. I'm messing with, but
not fun at all. Not fun.
Well, they say that probably my car's totaled, and. So that whole deal, if you've been in a car accident, you know what I'm talking about. So I finally got into the doctor. I should have probably got taken away by ambulance, but I didn't because I was in such of a daze when it happened. I didn't feel like I felt hurt, but I didn't feel like I had major injuries.
It was like you probably have a concussion or something.
I did. And then the next couple of days you wake up, you're like, what is going on? Right?
Wow.
So, anyways, I finally got into the doctor yesterday to take some x-rays, and they were like, yes, you're an idiot. You do have a concussion. You have whiplash.
Really?
And he said, you're so inflamed that we can't even adjust you. So he's like, he tried a couple times. He's like, there's just no way your body's going to let me adjust you. We have to wait for the inflammation.
You might have to do one of those Asian massage where they just step on top of you with a legs.
Oh, okay. Those are okay. I was thinking about a friend of mine lives in
They might be able to adjust you a little bit.
You never know. So like right now, my range of motion is like, if I'm looking at you like this, like who's our guest tonight?
Oh, wow.
You know why I'm doing it. And so to solve that, because I've had a little queasiness and it's not been fantastic, I figure we can just have a few drinks on the show and make everything better.
Good. Yeah.
So I see that you brought me a little thing as always.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Is
this like an actual drink, or is this kind of a made-up concoction like you normally do?
It's actually a made-up concoction I normally do. I went in the back and I was like, I did some groceries for the bar in the back the other day.
You're becoming quite the bartender, I have to say.
And I stumbled in with some passion fruit.
Okay.
And some tequila. Tequila.
Okay. So passion fruit and tequila.
We got passion fruit and tequila. It's a smooth drink. Try it. Let me know. It should be like smooth.
Yeah, it's strong.
Yeah. Strong?
Strong, but it's good.
Hey, man.
It tastes good. It's strong.
It's real tequila, man.
Okay.
It's the real deal.
I appreciate that. I'll drink my pain away.
Yeah. And then that's not only that, but I got another special drink for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, man.
Well, look, I've never done this before because you're always the drinker and I have a very clean liver.
Oh, that's right.
But
clean what?
But I actually brought in a little sample for you to try something I want to tell you about in a bit. But
that is a first.
But just to say, regarding the car accident, I don't want to whine about it.
Yeah.
It could have been a lot worse. A car is just a car. I feel like it could have been really major. I had my assistant Bobby and another lady, Georgette, in the car with me.
Oh, wow.
Fortunately, it hit on my side and...
Well, the good thing is that a life can be replaced. A car can be. You can replace a car anytime you want.
And
you are here.
Who would co-host with you?
That's right, man. That'd be a bummer. I'm like, man, that's a bummer.
You'd be sad for about 2 days and be like, Dan's gone. Need a new co-host.
That's gonna take a while, man. But I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're alive. Right. That's the most important part.
Yeah.
You have to be, alive and you're here. So that's good, man.
Okay,
so
look.
Guess what? Welcome back time twice.
I appreciate that. And you probably have to say it twice because I do have a concussion.
Yeah.
And I'm in this fog where I'm just like having a hard time articulating my words. So I'll probably sound like I'm actually drinking more than I'm really drinking. Well, but we'll see what happens.
I hope so. So what you got for drink?
Okay, look, before we get into your thing, I want to actually bring in my thing.
What's your thing?
And maybe we can get one of the producers to bring us over a sample. So a really good friend of mine, Dave Clark.
Okay.
Been a serial entrepreneur for, I don't know, 35 years plus.
Wow.
And we live in the same town, so he does pop-ins, and we just kind of stay connected. We talk every other day.
That's good. That's good.
And anyway, he's actually got a new book coming out, awesome. And it's called From Trenches to Triumph. It talks about how this guy was, this high selling peanuts on a corner of a busy road to now becoming like the sales guru and making lots of money and having a lot of success. Yeah. It's a great feel-good read.
Forward to that
From Trenches to Triumph. And Dave Clark, you should check out the book.
Absolutely.
Anyway, as a kind of a thank you, he stopped by my office today and he says, "Are you filming the Spanglish Business Show?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, do Latinos drink eggnog?" And I just figured, like, I didn't really know the answer to that, but I thought, Latinos drink about anything, to be honest with you. I'm not really sure. So he says, I have this special concoction of eggnog. I know we're only, we're not fully into that season yet, but I haven't had eggnog in a while, and he put this special ingredient in it. I don't know what that is.
We can do like the NFL. This is preseason.
Preseason eggnog.
All right, man. Salud, man.
Oh.
Dude.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Tequila, eggnog, doesn't get any better, man.
It's good. There's a thing in it, though, isn't there? There's kind of a...
man, I can drink this all day, all night.
I know that flavor.
Every day.
Okay.
Dude, this is so good.
So thank you, Dave. So I'm going to work on the eggnog, and then I'll get to your drink.
Thank you so much.
But go out and check it out. But if you want a feel-good read that's just really inspirational of this guy selling peanuts on the side of the road to really, and it's not just a good read and an inspiration, he also gives you a lot of his tips and tricks and things that he's used over the years that have made him a success.
That's good. Maybe somebody can use those little tricks and tips.
Hey, I use them.
Do the things you use.
So anyways, we appreciate it.
Well, that's why I read books too, so I can learn more and see what other strategies are out there.
So before we started the show, I have to say, I went into the break room before we started filming, and there was this huge tray of like amazing tacos. Did you bring those?
Yeah.
Dude, I appreciate that so much.
Oh, yeah.
You had like chicken and carne asada tacos.
Carne asada,
with the good chicken, salsa.
Yeah.
So they're not any left. I mean, they're gone now.
They're gone.
But I'm going to tell you that that set me kind of straight where now I feel like between that and the eggnog, I'm ready to do a show.
So, in the show and before the show and after the show, we always eat good here.
We do.
Yeah.
That's something. Sometimes I'm kind of like falling asleep because you get me full and then you try to liquor me up and then I'm like, God, how long?
Hey, Dan, here's a little shot for you.
We'll be skipping the guest tonight. That's how I feel sometimes.
All right. Well, before we bring the guest, let's try another shot. Let's try another shot of something else that I have.
Are you being serious?
I'm dead serious. It's sake, bro.
This is the Spanglish Business Show. It's not a drinking show.
Let me get one of the guys, the producer, he can give me the sake.
So this is kind of like Mexico, Puerto Rico, Latino country. This is like, I don't know where this originates from.
Me neither, but we got the pregame.
I'm not sure.
In the middle of the game.
What are you bringing now?
Well, this is sake, man.
Huh?
Sake is a rice one from Japan, but this is the real deal.
I thought you said something else.
This was exported from Japan.
If it sucks, why do I want to drink it? Sake. Okay.
You don't have to drink the whole shot, but you can drink just a little bit.
So it's correct me if I'm wrong, this is actually a wine?
It's a wine, it's a rice wine, and it's it comes in porcelain bottles. It's very strong. This is not the type of that you get a shot.
You can have this.
Really?
Not a fan. Although I appreciate the gesture.
Oh man, that's pretty good stuff.
Dude, you will drink anything. That's the deal.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Okay. What else? What have you been up to?
Sound like a diesel truck.
Here's the rubbing alcohol. That's not bad.
Yeah.
What have you been up to, my man?
Man, I've been up to doing some research, right? Okay. And I was looking at the news today, and I look at the economy is rebounding, so we're doing good.
Some would say yes.
Yeah, so we're selling more houses. Some of the businesses like McDonald's, their stock going up.
Yeah.
And a lot of other businesses that you'd be surprised that their stock was going down, it's going up. So we're doing.
Do you think there's a trend? And I'll probably get tons of hate mail by even mentioning this name in the Latino community. But do you think there's a trend with Donald Trump that, like him or not, I think that the general consensus is the stock market and different markets do okay having an entrepreneur. You know, I'm not saying he's a good guy, a bad guy, anything like that, but I feel like that it's conducive to have a stronger market.
Well, the market right now is at 23,000, so it's the highest ever been. So that's a pretty good, significant amount there.
Or people are saying the world is so hopeless, let's just put our money in stock and see what happens.
And let's see what happens. Let's see what in Vegas. All right, and then Amazon, they're gonna let if you're a driver for Amazon, like UPS, you're gonna have the key to the house so you can deliver the goods to the people. And the news break out a few days ago, I mean, which is crazy.
So let me get this straight. First of all, I've never had an Amazon driver. So like UPS, they're delivering UPS groceries or whatever.
Mail,
Okay. So then I make them a key to my home. So
I have no idea how that's going to work.
I don't feel like that's going to catch on.
I have no idea how that's going to work, but they're going to be allowed to go inside your home and put your package. And the reason being is, you know, last Christmas, the Christmas before, people be stealing packages. So they're trying to come up with
put it in your door.
Exactly. They put it just in the door. Somebody can steal it.
And I'm sure a company like Amazon has an amazing vetting process of who they're hiring.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I don't feel fantastic about
What if somebody left their people, you know, inside the house? Oh, I thought I had it in the crate. And the guy goes in and, you know, you got some dangerous things. I won't let my keys to just anybody neither. Because
I feel like technology sometimes advances too quickly.
Yeah,
for people to catch up.
I'd rather have the drone, just drop it off with the drone, put it in my backyard, and I'm safe.
I'm not sure about that.
So who's the new? I know we got a guest tonight.
Thank God.
Thank God. I know, even though you have a concussion.
No, as always. So, dude, this is really funny. So I usually line up the guests, and being that I was in a wreck and all this stuff, I was like, did I lock down a guest? Like last minute, I was scrambling because I couldn't remember. So we don't have a guest. No, we have a guest.
You're lucky
I
you
wasn't
have a
sure, but literally like 4 hours ago, I'm like, I'm confirming that we talked, right? And he was like, yeah, we talked. But I am actually very excited about our guest tonight.
That's good.
Yeah, really an amazing guy. He's one of those guys that's as busy as we are. Awesome. You know, he's
I'm very busy.
He's a very successful guy, and I won't give away too much of what he does. But let's see if we can get him on the phone. This person is actually. So when I got his bio, and I was familiar with his work already through a mutual friend, he has like a list this big of things. But just the short answer is he's an American singer, songwriter, composer, actor, and also you could probably say business guru, you know, business mogul.
So he has a lot of...
and he's doing a lot in the record business, representing artists, and some of which you probably know, maybe dance to, but I won't give too much away. But ladies and gentlemen, MC Hammer. No,
MC Hammer.
No, we're going to bring out some... So let's see if we can get... this is actually Fabian Muzik is the way you spell it.
Fabian Muzik.
It's M-U-Z-I-K, but it's pronounced music.
Music.
So let's see if we can get Fabian on the phone.
So in Spanish, Fabian Muzik.
Would it be music or musica?
It'd be musica, but yeah, musica.
I'll let you guys work that out.
All right.
All right. So get Fabian impart some words of wisdom for us.
All right. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Fabian, it's Dan Vega and Angel Pomales from the Spanglish Business Show, buddy. How are you?
Right.
Good. How are you guys this evening?
Good, man. Welcome to the Spanglish Business Show. It's glad to have you, Fabian.
So,
man, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here tonight.
Thank you.
Well, listen, Angel was saying that your name in Spanish would be pronounced, how would you say that?
Fabian.
Musica?
Well, it'd be music. But música en español.
Música.
In Spanish, yeah.
Okay. Now, let me get this right. I gave a little bit about your introduction. I know you're a very successful American singer, songwriter, composer, actor, really a business mogul. But before we get into all of that, first of all, I want to know what up with the last name. You're on the Spanglish Business Show, so your birth name is what? Hernandez. Oh, right on. And what background is that? What ethnicity is that?
Well, my father's side is from the Mexican ethnicity, and then my mother's side is from the Spaniard. My great-great-grandmother had really, really fair complexion with blonde hair and green eyes.
Same here, exactly. My father's dad was from Guadalajara. My mom's side was from Spain. Very fair, complected. So we probably look alike, man. I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse.
One of the most handsome guys in this country.
Man, I'll tell you. So I have to say, obviously you've had tremendous success in your career. You've done so many things, which we'll talk about. But before we get into all that, Fabian, tell me a little bit about how you got started in the business and kind of how things got going for you.
Sure. I started out like any other kid, going with the wrong crowd and influenced by the street movement, and found myself gangbanging at a very early age, and kind of grew up in that street life, which made me grow up quicker and become more savvy about things that were happening. And it wasn't until '96 that I started to get involved in the music, and the music started to intrigue me because I would go out and I started recording my first album and started learning how to produce and write by renting all of the blues and jazz pieces of music from the local library and understanding how to compose music and arrange it. And from those experiences that led me to recording my first album, which in turn, just through grassroots promotion out of the trunk of my car and doing consignment deals with local record stores, I ended up selling upwards of 10,000 copies of that first tape. And that landed me in independent meeting with a label out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, who was tied into Maurice Starr Enterprises, who did New Kids on the Block New Edition. And then, one thing led to another. After the independent meeting, one of their tour managers came on board to listen to me perform live at the label in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And, she told the gentleman who owned the facility over there that there was nothing he could do for my career at that time, that I needed to meet Maurice and Silver Star. So a few weeks later, I found myself in Hartford, Connecticut and New York, shaking hands and doing a deal with Maurice Starr Enterprises, Sony BMG.
Wow, man.
Nice.
And so now, are you based where? In Florida, Southern Florida?
I'm based in Southern Florida now, out of Miami area, and everybody has known me here for the last 18 years of my life. So I relocated from the Ohio region, so I'm a Midwest guy.
Oh, wow.
But kind of implementing, the commercial aspects of music and entrepreneurship to a lot of the Southern guys who happen to be very educated and very smart. It's just that I felt that in the South, they were a misperceived group of people with lost opportunities. And for a guy like me to be the liaison between the two, it made it a perfect marriage.
Yeah, sure.
Nice.
Let me ask you a question. From experience, I know that there's certain fields, like for instance, I was in public speaking in the seminar business for about 10 years and writing. I feel like things like writing and being a speaker, not everybody's supposed to be on a stage. Not everybody's supposed to write. I think people can take classes or whatever, but it's one of those fields that you either got it or you don't, right? And if you have it, it could be polished very quickly, or maybe you're just not supposed to be doing it. Do you feel like music is similar, that like anybody can learn some technical things or whatever, but you're either supposed to be in the music business or you're not? Is that kind of one of those things?
I truly agree with that 100%. And it goes back to the cliche of saying, that person has the it factor. There's certain things, techniques and abilities that can be taught and trained, pending that artist is humble and has a spirit of understanding, without being too critical about themselves and playing the victim mentality, I like to call it, because a lot of times when you go into the constructive criticism of trying to break down where the weaknesses of that artist are to bring them to their better strengths, sometimes they take personal offense. So, it has to be a relationship between the two, the producer, the writer, and the artist as well, so that they understand that they believe in each other's greatnesses and they're trying to tap into a realm that would lead them to bigger successes than any of them have ever had.
So how long would it take you? Are you in this situation now? I know you're representing artists, but how long does it take you to kind of say, this guy's got it, or this person has it, or doesn't have it? Like, can you tell that in like one song, or How long do you need to know before you say, I can make a decision?
I mean, nobody has perfect judgment, but I've been around some really, really big-time players in this business for a very long time, over a couple of decades. And I have been brought up by some of the best in the world to ever do it. And so it typically takes me maybe a half a song to know if the artist is worth my time even working with. Wow. And then if they pass that primary stage, then I'll go on to looking at their work ethic, because that's the most important thing in today's music climate. It's not so much about the talent anymore as much as it is the marketability and the work ethic. So if a guy is extremely talented, but he has no fan base, he has no marketability in terms of his looks, it's going to be very tough to get over those hurdles. I can make him relevant, but it's going to take me a whole lot of money to do so. And I would rather take someone with mediocre talent and someone who's teachable to make them a decent enough singer to make them a great entertainer.
Yeah, so when you were talking, I was kind of thinking of somebody like a Taylor Swift, right? She's got the look, she's got the height, she looks like a model, she plays the guitar, and she can sing. There's a lot of angles you can create leverage there to get her out there. But then you take a guy like Ed Sheeran, who's extremely talented, but really, I mean, honestly, not much to look at, a very common guy.
Yeah.
That's going to take a little longer to really break through based on talent. Right?
I agree, but and the interesting thing is the two artists you just mentioned, I have kind of a personal connection with both. Taylor, in being that I was at her very first public performance for the label at a private party they did at CMT's in Nashville, and so I had the opportunity to see her perform as a young girl, and she was playing the guitar, and there were things, I don't want to, I'm not here to bash anyone, but there were things that weren't quite polished yet at that point. But you could see that she had an extreme amount of potential and where the direction that she was going. And it all comes down to that label or that supportive staff believing in that artist 100% that they're going to make them a star. That's what I always tell the young hopefuls, is that it takes one person, it takes one Dame Dash to believe in a Jay-Z to say, I'm going to make you the most relevant artist in the world. And with Ed Sheeran, I had an opportunity to perform with him many, many years ago, and he was traveling just alone and had, he had a looper and he had his speaker system and an electric guitar. And, I just knew there was something about this guy. He had a very organic sound, and I just knew that there was something special about his writing. And we in turn did a remix for him and Kendrick Lamar this past year, and I ended up crossing him over into another urban market that he per se wasn't touching, demographically. And so that's kind of what I like to do, is take a product everyone feels that isn't relevant in a certain area and kind of make them believers out of the naysayers.
How is Ed Sheeran? He's like kind of shy, he looks shy on TV.
Dude, he's like a ladies' man.
He's a ladies' man.
Believe it. He's like dating all these it girls.
Oh yeah.
It's funny how money takes care of our downfalls. We see it all the time in Hollywood, not to mention names, but but there's certain qualities too that I can say that some of these women in Hollywood who aren't genuine, who aren't, seeking after the money or the fame or the next lead role, who can look at a guy like Ed Sheeran and say, you know what, he's a real genuine person. He just happens to be in the same line of work I am. So they can, they can appreciate that about one another. And that's what I've kind of grown to appreciate over the years, is that you find someone genuine in the entertainment business, you always cuff them to the side and say, you know what, I'll go out of my way for anything you ask of me, because I want to nurture this relationship, because genuineness is very hard to find.
So I come to find out a few hours ago, we have a mutual friend. Is that right? So talk a little bit about that, because I was actually surprised. Sometimes I'm so surprised on what a small world it was. But we have a mutual friend, Woody Bradshaw, that was actually on a few years back. We did a show on ABC, and very talented guy, Woody Bradshaw, was actually an actor, and kind of, I think his co-star gave him a guitar on the soap he was on and said, you need to learn to play this, and kind of self-taught and very, very, he had the look and the whole bit, but you knew Woody, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Woody was signed to a label that I was the only executive producer of at the time, and I was the first hip-hop act signed to the label, but because I was open as a musician and a composer to do different genres of music, I started to dabble into the heavy metal realm and produced the #1 album for them, #1 single rather, for Sleeper Cell, and then started dabbling with country stuff, and I was introduced to Woody Bradshaw. And so yeah, it was kind of ironic because another mutual friend of ours, Justin LeBron, and I were speaking about you and some of the things that you had done on ABC. And I said, man, I stumbled across his show through a Google alert that I had set up with an artist that I was working with through another label out of Universal. And so he asked me, and we got to talking about Woody. And so it's just such a small world.
Oh, man,
that's why it's very important for some of these young guys and young hopefuls that are coming up to never ruin that relationship with anyone, because you never know. The guy who's the underdog today could be the biggest casting director in the world in 3 or 4 years from now.
Right.
You know,
I interviewed Woody a couple of times. I interviewed him a couple of times, and he actually gave a live performance on the show once or twice. But I gotta say, you know, he's a guy that had the talent, but also had the look. He kind of had the Keith Urban thing happening. But I went out before he was on the show. I saw him perform live a couple of times.
Wow!
And this guy had the girls swooning. I mean, just all over themselves. I couldn't believe the effect that he had on these people. I'm like, wow, this guy's got something. I don't know what it is. I'm not in the music business. I'm not a professional, but he's got something. So
wow, that's
he absolutely. He's a ladies' man. You know, Woody's a good-looking guy. Doesn't look anywhere close to his age. He's aged very well. Not that he's an old guy, but you know, he definitely appears much younger than what he is. And you know, when you couple that with talent, it brings the perfect chemistry for people to respond to. And it was just a great venture with him. You know, walking the red carpet through several different awards, and you know, he was on one of the big major publications, you know, in print. And so that's kind of the blessing of the music industry that I always tell other kids. I said, you know, don't focus on the money, focus on the passion of the art and the expression. And then two, enjoy the moment when you experience it, because it's all about the memories of saying, hey, I was there when those moments in history were created, as opposed to, you know, talking about the money aspects and how fast things happen to come your way when you're on top of the world.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful thing there. Hey, Fabian, I've been looking at your bio, and I mean, you're a super talented person. And I was reading that you got 10 of the top 100 hits, but the genres are jazz, hip hop, rhythm and blues, country. I mean, that's a full spectrum of different flavors of music. How you do that?
You know, it's interesting you ask that, because when I first started the music, I was a street guy. So, like I said, I was renting pieces of jazz and blues and gospel music from the local library, because people would tell me, if you want to learn how to arrange music, learn these 3 genres, because the roots of all music comes from these progressions. And so I started to understand things, and by the time I got to Maurice, I really started to understand the chemistries of what it meant to make a hit record. And so I told myself years ago, when I started in gospel and in R&B, I said, I never want to box myself in to the exclusivity of being a beat maker. I would rather be a composer arranger, because that's going to expand my financial status of being able to reach more people. And there's a reason why I talk about being able to reach more people, because ultimately I have a lot of different aspirations in life, and how we have touched people through thousands of different outreaches at a street level. And I've always been a big advocate for the underdog, because, you know, I was the guy who everyone said would never succeed.
Yeah, and music is one of those things that really transcends it. It crosses all ages and demographics and different ethnic backgrounds, and it really just, you know, it really is something that can unify people. And I feel like that it's one of those things that can really make an impact.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
with people. And I know that now with FMP, you've kind of put. It seems like you've kind of put this dream team together that is just accomplishing huge things. And obviously, you've had a great amount of success. I want to take a short break, but when we get back, I want to talk a little bit about the early days before you've had all this success, about some of the struggles that all of us as entrepreneurs endure. So stick with us. We'll be right back. More with Fabian Muzik. Stick with us, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Spanglish Business Show.
That's
I'm
right.
here with my good friend Angel Pomalis.
Absolutely.
We've been speaking with American singer, songwriter, composer,
producer.
I mean, this guy's
actor.
done it all. I think he's as busy as we are.
I know.
Really an American business mogul.
That's right.
And work with some great names. Fabian Muzik.
Yes.
And,
FMC.
It's what is it?
FMP Media Group.
IK is the way you spell it.
Oh, yeah.
FMP Media Group. These guys are doing, I kind of feel like he's put this dream team together, and they've had tremendous success working with some of the biggest names in Hollywood, Nashville, all the like.
Yeah, lots of awards.
But Fabian, before you've actually had all this success, we know that as being entrepreneurs, in the beginning, man, it's not like that. There's a real grind in the beginning. Certainly all of us take our share of nosebleeds, and there's a lot of pressure in the beginning. Talk a little bit about some of the early struggles and kind of what you gleaned from it, and how you've kind of used that today in your success.
Well, one thing I learned starting out before I even got my first deal was nobody wants to see success as bad as I did. Everyone says they believe in you, but they don't have the motivation to really push you to that next level. Because in all reality, a lot of our family and friends who say they're down for us never want to see us more successful than they are. And so by learning that the hard way, I felt like 99% of everyone who said that they wanted me to succeed was waiting for me to fail. And the 1% who did believe in me was my mother and my family. And so I learned to start cherishing the people who I knew would always be there at the very end. And so there were days where I felt like I didn't have the motivation to get up and go out and sell these tapes in the street and, try to book these little local fair gigs and church groups to come and hear me sing, because I literally started out singing for groups of 20 to 40 people. And before I knew it, within the next few months, because of the quality of music and the integrity of the image that I brought to the public, I was performing for, 2,500 to 3,000 people every week. And so by, the diligence of me sticking to my dreams and just, never thinking about the people who said I was going to fail, but just always thinking onward and upward, and motivating myself to say it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, because no matter how much quote-unquote success you achieve, people are always going to say you failed.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Hey, Fabian, real quick. You got a lot of success, and then you started at an early age, like you say. Who was that person that, looking back in those years, who was that person that inspired you to, or
maybe persons,
or persons, you never know,
paved the way?
Absolutely. Who paved the way, and and make you realize, hey, this is what I want to do, and I would like to be like this person. Is it anybody in mind that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. There's quite a few, a handful, but I would be lying if I didn't mention that my older brother was the one who initially inspired me to start doing music. Because as a street guy, I never thought about doing music. I literally thought I was going to live and die in that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And when I got involved with the church, he said, hey, you got to try to start singing. Because he was the peppy guy of the family, and he was always doing music his whole life and working with Gerald Levert and those guys out of Cleveland at that time.
Wow.
And so, I just started listening to gospel groups like Commissioned and, watching the Richie Valens movie and listening to Phil Collins growing up. And then, my brother put me on the Black Ice music. I just started to become entrenched and inspired by the quality of the art that they were expressing at that time. And so it wasn't in particularly that I wanted to be like someone, but it was more so about expressing the art in such a perfect way that I would be respected as one of those guys for years to come.
Yeah, and how it's surprising sometimes who's actually coming at you with the negativity in the beginning. Many times it's people that are close to us. I feel like we probably grew up in similar neighborhoods, and when I was trying to, I had mentors that were trying to help me along and learn some things. The neighborhood kids, my friends, so to speak, they felt like I was selling out. They would be like, okay, Mr. Tony Robbins, you're trying to be like Tony Robbins. And they would make fun of me. They're like, next you're going to change your name to Dan Meadows, because Vega in English is Meadows. Okay, Dan Meadows. I try to tell them, you know, I'm not, it's not that I'm not proud to be Hispanic.
Yeah.
I just don't want what the average Latino has, just being quite honest.
Right.
And I don't care if I got to learn from black people, white people, purple people. I just want the best life possible for myself and my family. And ultimately want to make a large impact, right? And it's interesting that how these guys that are supposedly your friends become your biggest critics. And you have to really look at that closely and in many cases get a lot of new friends. Did you experience something very similar?
Yeah, I absolutely did, and I'm glad you say that, because I feel that all of us go through growing pains when we start to make the transition into the professional world. And I had to learn the hard way, and it took me many years, because, you know, I feel that we as a Latino people are very passionate about everything we do, and sometimes it tends to either bring people closer or push people away. And so I had to kind of lean upon my natural instincts of realizing who was in this journey for my well-being and not for them to benefit off of me or become financially wealthy. And so there was a ton of hometown people, you know, especially rival gang members at that time, who said that I was just getting involved in the church to lean on it as a crutch, and because they get hit me with some pretty serious charges that would have been had me locked up for a very long time. And by the glory of God, you know, we were able to beat those cases because of lack of evidence and so many other things. But at the same time, you know, it's just like the music became such a pillar in my life that I was able to determine and distinguish who was for me and who was against me at a very, you know, in a very deep way, because it just like those experiences would expose those people, and you would look at them, and I would have never thought in a million years my friend would tell me that
the guy across the street that I knew since I was 3, how's that guy turning against me? Yeah, you're right. Well, and tell me if you can relate to this. You know, anybody that's in the public eye, so to speak, whether it be in television, music, whatever, to this day, you still get critics. You know I have you know, my share of critics that don't like me or my ethnicity or whatever. And that, when it first started happening to me, it really threw me back for a loop. I'd go online and I'd read these things that were untrue, but I would really take it to heart. I would lose sleep over these critics.
Oh, wow.
And I remember having a conversation with a very, very successful person that told me, he's like, man, that's validation. He's like, people that have no critics as to what they do, they're not making a big enough impact. You know,
that's true.
When you don't, when your inner circle, when your circle is small and you're not really affecting the world in any way, yeah, you don't have any critics. But when you try to get out there, you're in the public eye, you're actually trying to make a real impact and change thousands or potentially even millions of lives. You know, you're going to get some critics, and having these few critics is a validation.
That's right.
A, that you have a broad impact, but B, that you're reaching down deep enough, striking an emotional chord that they don't like the way you made them feel. Maybe it wasn't anything specifically about you or your message, but the way you made them feel, they weren't ready to feel that, so they project the way they're feeling onto the person. And that's how deep you have to reach, I believe, to actually make an impact. So it's validation that you're doing the right thing. I don't know if you have any critics or not, but I'm sure that being out there as much as you are, winning awards, putting together this team, all the accomplishments you've had, I'm sure it's something that you've had experience with.
Yeah, I mean, I have my fair share of critics and people who, you know, have their opinions and whatnot. And I've always felt like, well, I'm never going to please everyone, so why even try?
That's right.
And two, it's like these people live to get a response off of their favorite, you know, celebrity. And so I don't give them a time of day to respond or to say anything back to them, because that's what they're thriving for. And I do believe sometimes it does take those people to reach within the depths of your soul that brings out that hurt and that remembrance that someone else did to you, and maybe they affiliate that with something that you said, and so they project those same feelings towards you, even though you've never met.
That's right.
And so it takes pain to go through healing.
You know,
and so sometimes they don't understand, because we've been conditioned as a culture to judge people based on previous experiences.
Yeah. Hey, Fabian, with that said, when you first started FMP Media Group, right?
Yep.
I'm pretty sure you took into account all those critics, and you were thinking like, wait till I start FMP Media. They're gonna see what I really am about.
All those naysayers.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you had an even better aspiration on doing those things. A better drive.
I always say, that the best revenge is success. All these people that are saying all these things. Just be very successful at what you're doing.
Yeah, because that's how I feel. Yeah.
You don't have to go back and even answer these people. Just show them what you're doing and have great success. Yeah. And
show them what you got. Exactly. Exactly.
Well, I just think that we live in such a social media driven age that people become entrenched with the negativity that they say about another in terms of us as celebrities and personalities. And as creative content providers, I think that we are more susceptible to hurt and pain than anyone in the world because we're so impressionable and we project our experiences that we experience throughout the world and throughout our daily lives, and then we just basically turn those into scripts and songs. Right. And because they're very realistic, other people relate to those and they become hit records because, there's been a million other people who've experienced what we had to go through. It's just like the important thing is to always focus on you and you got people like Prince who never had a cell phone. Guys like Kanye West who sometimes they don't use a cell phone, and Paul McCartney, you just got to contact these guys via email. And so I completely understand it and have even wrestled with that, in my own life and saying, is it worth it to have social media on your phone because it ties up so much of your time and creativity? But at the flip side, a guy like me who may seem to be browsing YouTube is actually working and studying different cultures and different reactions and how people correspond with one another in different regions. And so I'm a big fan of studying, different cultures because I embrace difference. And I want to be able to merge those differences into a perfect harmony as to why do we hate one another so much?
The only thing I can say to that, man, is órale.
Órale.
Órale, Holmes.
Órale, vato.
I got to tell you, you're very fortunate to be in a career where you're in one of those fields where you can actually express what you're feeling. The highs and the lows is what makes music great. I don't think I could ever date. I'd be terrified to date somebody like Taylor Swift, even though she's incredible to look at. Man, you break up, it's like, this chick is going to write a song about me. I know for a fact.
Like, she's going to hammer you, man. Hammer time.
It's not just the highs, but it's the highs and the lows and the things that's where these guys find their inspiration, and it works. Man.
Yeah, it works. It's an art, man. It's an art.
Right.
It's all art.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
So they say that
I've always said the best song is the one that you've experienced.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
They say that most successful entrepreneurs, as yourself, at the end of the day, eventually we just become very high-paid storytellers. Give me one great story that you've either witnessed firsthand or maybe that you've heard that you use maybe today with your students or that you're still talking about.
Yeah.
Give me something juicy, man.
Sure. Well, in today's society, we always look on YouTube, and the first thing that pops up when we Google something like the music industry or entertainment, especially with what's going on with undisclosed big movie producer right now, is these secret societies and conspiracies of people having to do things to get in higher places. And I've witnessed this firsthand, have been approached from a financial level to do things that were in the fine print that I didn't really agree with in my soul. And because of me not, selling my morals short for promised success, I ended up having to work maybe 2 or 3 times harder than the next guy because I wasn't willing to jump through those hoops like everyone else did. Yeah. And so, but at the end of the night, I know I can go to sleep, and I didn't, take any chances on the future or the endeavors that I wanted to put out so that I could still maintain my creative control over the empire that I'm building.
So are you talking about like, singer, songwriter, actor by day, Illuminati at night? What are we talking about here, man?
Yeah. He does so many things.
I would put it the other way around.
Okay,
Illuminati by day.
Illuminati by day.
And then the rest of the stuff at night.
By trade.
Oh wow, man.
Well, they do target people with very unique skill sets or even high level of influence. That's how they get things done. Is they're targeting media, they're targeting people of influence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that makes sense for sure. Listen, Fabian, we're going to actually take another short break. When we get back, we're going to get into our lightning round. How does you say it?
It's going to be conexión rápida.
Conexión rápida. This gives our audience a few minutes to really connect with you on a more personal level. So stick with us. Right. We're watching the Spanglish Business Show.
And we'll be right back.
More in a minute. Stick with us.
Okay.
All right.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Spanglish Business Show. I'm Dan Vega. This is Angel Pomales.
That's right.
And we've been talking with very successful entrepreneur Fabian Muzik. And we've been talking a lot about not only the success of an entrepreneur, but the struggles that we all have to deal with, especially in the beginning, the critics. It really takes you back in the beginning.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we have to learn that it's a necessary evil. If we have a handful of critics or naysayers,
that's right.
But we're able to impact, thousands and thousands of people annually.
Absolutely.
It's a fair trade, and many of us have accepted that responsibility. Right. And certainly, this is a guy that has done it.
Yeah,
and
very special guy.
He's really, really making an impact in the music world, working with some of the biggest names. So we want to get to the lightning round.
That's right. Conexión rápida.
Conexión rápida.
Conexión rápida.
So this is where we give our audience a chance to really connect on a more personal level.
That's right.
And so fire away, my man, when you're ready.
All right, Fabian, here we go, man. So the first question, if you were not in the business you are in now, what career path will you pursue?
I'm Mexicano, so I'd have to say cartel leader, duh.
Cartel leader.
Man, you were lying. Illuminati to cartel.
Yeah.
Okay. Man. That's not a far lead.
I tell you, what kind of hat will you wear?
Probably an ostrich baseball hat, trucker style.
Nice. Okay, all right. I have to ask that question.
Nice.
Okay. All right. That's crazy. Now, is there a field or job that you could never see yourself in?
Oh, this is really easy. It's janitorial because I can't stand taking care of other people's crap.
Yeah.
Nice.
I will not be able to do that neither, man. Absolutely not.
It's like
have you seen the TV show Dirty Jobs?
Say again?
The TV show Dirty Jobs.
Yes, I have. It's funny you see that because I got a chance to meet Mike because they shut down a little city in Tennessee doing a cavern episode. And I went up and went through the yellow tape, met the producers, and they said, "Hey, we'd like you to meet Mr. Rowe." And so they called him out from the cavern and was able to meet the guy. And he was a really nice, humble guy. And I said, "Man, he puts himself in all these crazy situations." I was a fan of the show. I did watch it.
I can't do that stuff, man. You go and clean some cow, cow stuff, and you go out, man, and you go to some very crazy, creepy places.
I'll cut your grass, man. I'll pull a yard, but I won't do that stuff.
You won't do that.
Right. But we're typically known for landscape and vegetation. So we'll stick with that.
All right. Now, the next question is very easy for you because you're already in the industry. What type of music do you put in when you try to be in the zone?
Yeah, you're trying to get in the zone, man. What do you put in?
Definitely 90s R&B for sure.
90s R&B,
nice, dude.
I like 90s, man. I'm a 90s fan.
So in our area, we have a mutual friend with Belle Biv DeVoe. They were just in our area.
Oh, wow.
And they were talking, and then I just looked at one of the guys, and I'm like, now you know.
Yeah, you do. Ooh.
I love that 90s R&B stuff. Dude.
They had some good moves, too, man.
Yeah.
They had some good moves, man.
So you worked with some of those guys, didn't you? Did you work with some of them?
Yeah, we did. We absolutely did. As a matter of fact, it was we did the 25th year anniversary Hollywood Talent Night search with Maurice Starr in Boston, and I got an opportunity to meet Ralph Tresvant and many others, and it was a blessing to have them, approach me on the red carpet and say, "Hey, you're that producer guy at Fabian Muzik, and would you be interested in doing some new stuff for us?" So, that was, I grew up listening to these guys, and these were my heroes. So I never in a million years would I have thought even leaving Ohio, let alone being all over the world and getting a chance to meet legends.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, man. They used to dance some pretty cool, especially when they said that Gary's Poison, that song.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I used to love Poison.
And he starts that rap part. I was at the party.
Yeah, I like that stuff, man. Just imagine rapping
checking
that stuff in
Spanish. The highs and lows, keeping one eye open and still. No, I'm not gonna start.
I think that knows the whole song.
I feel like if I go, he's gonna probably try to sign me.
Yeah.
So we better move on.
we might do a video in the future.
I'm kidding.
We might do a Spanglish business video show in the future. That'll be fun. We can do Poison in Spanish. What do you think?
I don't know how to do that.
All right. Next question. What is your favorite guilty pleasure?
It's got to be urban, exploring eerie places. I'm a huge fan of the horror film demographic, and I've always been a connoisseur of really bad horror movies like, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and classics like that. And so I'm always intrigued by abandoned buildings and things that people would typically steer away from. I'm drawn to that.
You know what?
And that's kind of like
Poltergeist?
kind of crazy because
I've never seen that movie.
Urban or eerie places.
That is scary.
Man,
never seen Poltergeist.
I'm still actually afraid of the dark. That's an honest to God. I have to have a nightlight.
Really?
My wife hates it. No, swear. She's like pitch black. She loves it really dark in the room. I got to have a bathroom light or a nightlight, dude. I don't like it dark, man.
I get a nightlight too. My wife is always, you and your light.
For the love of God, do not wear the Snuggie with the nightlight.
Okay, yeah.
I got one of those night lights that like glow after 3 seconds.
Unless it's a custom one.
Exactly.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, so yeah, let's go here. I'll tell you what, that's a movie that you're gonna like.
Okay.
What's the name of it? Let me see. It's one of those crazy movie, the Blair Witch Project.
Dude, I don't watch stuff
You ever
like
seen that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I get the movie. I'm gonna give it to Dan so he can watch it. I'm gonna bring it to you next week when I see
My all-time favorite. I don't know if you could call it a horror film, but my all-time favorite is American Werewolf in London.
Oh, dude.
Do you know that movie?
I haven't seen that movie. It's on Netflix right now.
Oh, dude, that is the greatest.
I'm gonna check it out.
It's so good.
I think it's on Netflix. Well done. But I saw it. Yeah.
Oh man, that's my favorite.
It actually is one of the top 10.
Growing up.
Yeah.
Growing up, I always heard that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because of the preface they set in the beginning of the movie, that it was a true story. And then when I grew up, I started researching all these urban legends to educate myself. Wow. And, come to find out the story was based off of Ed Gein. And, he had killed a handful of people, but it was more so, it definitely didn't have anything to do with the chainsaw. I can't remember what state it took place in, Missouri or somewhere, but it definitely didn't have anything to do with Texas. And so it was kind of a spin-off of the original plot of what really happened.
Oh, wow.
And so I was let down. And, as a kid, you grow up and you're like, this is a crazy story, but somehow, it intrigues you. And then when you grow up and you know the truth, like, that wasn't as sweet as it could have been.
The monster of the Green Lagoon.
The Black Lagoon.
The Black Lagoon.
The Green Lagoon. What are you talking about?
I was watching it in Spanish, Holmes.
Oh, we grew up thinking
in Spanish it's green. Verde. Laguna Verde. When you sing a Brown Laguna, it's Verde Laguna. All right. Okay, I got another question for you here. Who is your celebrity crush?
I actually don't have one, but if I don't say my wife, I may be unemployed tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, that's a good answer.
Either unemployed or out of a place to live. I might be coming to stay with you guys in the studio.
Yeah.
I'm the same shit you are.
Okay.
All right. Now next, Corona or Tecate?
Corona with grenadine.
All right.
Corona with grenadine. I never tried that.
That's next week.
Next week. We're going to do that here next week. What kind of grenadine? The lemonade one or the strawberry one?
The strawberry one.
All right, we're gonna have that
with Corona.
With Corona, yeah, and a lemon.
All right, I'm gonna try it.
Oh man, luxury car or low rider, I say.
Oh, but if I had my only choice, it would definitely be lowriders, because for those fans who do know me, they know I had a custom shop for many years when I first got in the music industry. And I physically love to build cars in my off time. So I got the rotisserie body spindle. I got a big, humongous shop with pipe benders and welders.
Wow.
And I get busy. I build cars like they do in LA, and I'm pretty darn good. We've had 7 Lowrider magazine centerfolds over the years.
Wow.
Dude, we need to hang out with this guy. It seems like it would be fun.
Yeah. You know, the music video, we're going to have a
I don't know if we'll all die at the end of the night. Probably. But it would be fun.
Yeah. We'll hang out in Miami in a lowrider, man. With gold rims.
In the lowrider.
Hey, I'm actually going to be in the Tampa area. I'm going to be in the Tampa and Naples area here in about 6 weeks. So I'll come see you, man.
Oh, sweet.
How far are you from Naples?
Naples, I'm not too sure how far that is. It's on the West Coast, I think. I've been there a few times. South 75, Interstate 75. I'm not honestly too sure, but I'm back and forth between the central part of Florida and Miami. So I'm always a stone throw away.
Oh wow!
Okay, right on.
That's not bad.
We're gonna connect, dude.
Yeah. It'll be between Gator Alley and the east coast of Miami, I guess. Okay. Don't be eaten by a gator there.
No, I'm too spicy.
Okay. All right. Name one super gigantic goal that you have for the near future.
Build a multi-billion-dollar enterprise to establish literacy and residency schools with in-house immigration lawyers. It's been a huge dream of mine that we've been zeroing in on, to partner up with other successful Latinos in entertainment and music and business, and start to build these literacy and residency schools to where we make our people legit. I'm just, it breaks my heart every time I see the news, and we're always, especially with politics and how they are now, it's just giving people a justification to have a voice, at an even bigger platform. And so, I just, without getting too political about it, I just have a big passion for my people, and I feel a responsibility to help because of the success that we've been able to have.
Let's talk after this interview, man, because I know a lot of contacts that we can connect on that, and I align a lot with that vision as well. Yeah. So we'll talk, man.
Oh yeah, interesting.
Beautiful.
Sure.
All right, okay, Fabian. The last questions, which is the most famous here in our show.
Okay.
Now here we go. So we have, we had a white president, entrepreneur president, African American president. If there ever was a Latino president, what do you think his first 3 presidential executive decisions? Sorry, my tequila, sake, and
was completely tanked from this
whatever else is already getting to me.
Okay, 3 executive decisions. What do you think?
If it's George Lopez, it's gonna be legalize real Mexican tacos, no como los gringos. free every Vatos Locos forever.
Vatos Locos.
and do anything for Salinas.
Oh, nice. Man, I like that. That's awesome.
Well, listen, man, you certainly have a lot on your plate. You've had a lot of success. Let me ask you a question. For our viewers right now that are watching the show and they're inspired and they're saying, man, here's a guy that not only has overcome his background and neighborhood and overcome adversity, but he's actually followed his passion. Now he's working and having success, chasing his passion, and maybe they're thinking about getting into a similar industry like the music industry. What's some parting advice you can give our viewers?
The biggest thing is, the biggest handful of advice that I could give you would be consistency, work ethic, and quality over quantity. So let's just say it's not important in being caught up on how many songs you can record in one day. because they're all irrelevant if none of them hit. Mm-hmm. So the best thing is to focus solely on making a hit record and being consistent with those hits and building that brand to be a brand of respectability. So the main reason why we affiliate greatness with brand placement is because they built up a rapport with the customer. So we're selling personality, we're selling customer service as artists, as songwriters, producers. So even though you're a better producer than most other guys, doesn't mean you're going to be more successful, because some of those other guys who aren't as talented as you may have better personality and work ethic, and they may have better hustling skills than you. So that's why we sit up here all the time and talk about, you know, other artists who aren't as great as somebody locally maybe, or we know better producers and writers than other people who have already made it on the radio. But what always separates winners from losers is excuses. And those excuses are never even acknowledged by people who succeed because they're too busy focusing on the next move of success.
I totally agree, man. Consistency is it. You know, you give me this super talented, uber smart guy versus a talented guy, but maybe just super consistent, shows up every day, creates great content. I'll take the consistent guy every time, man.
Absolutely.
Because eventually you'll get there with the consistency. And man, you certainly have been consistent over your career. You've had a lot of accomplishment. How can we get, for our viewers, how can we kind of follow you, find out what you're doing? How can we get more information about what you're up to?
All of my social media, my personal social media, my Facebook information is at Fabian Muzik. That's spelled Fabian Muzik. That's Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and like 80-something other networks as well on Google. And of course, the website is FabianMuzik.com. And the company's website, if you're interested in submitting any demos or consideration for, you know, a indie major record deal, it would be fmpmediagroup.com, and there you can see just a snapshot and a glimpse of what we do. And you know, we're currently eagerly partnering up with big successful filmmakers right now and doing a huge deal out in China. So we're partnering up with filmmakers and production companies, you know, creative content providers, so on and so forth. So we're looking to partner with anyone who's interested in making a change in the world, especially via entertainment.
That's awesome, man. You know, it's weird. I was thinking while you were talking, it's kind of a weird career path that we're in, me and Angel, because we get this great opportunity to interview these amazing celebrities and work with these amazing artists, and I know you can relate to that. But what I learned a long time ago, and I know you'll agree, is that it's not really about being a star. It's about being the light. And you're certainly a guy that has come from nothing. You've done it all on your own. You were consistent. You've persevered. And man, I feel like what you're doing is making such an impact. You're certainly the light for so many people to have a chance to get their stuff out there and actually become relevant. And man, we just appreciate you being on the show.
Yes.
Definitely come back, would you, man?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, and I appreciate all those kind words. It makes a big difference because, you know, a lot of times, not that we do what we do to seek praise, but, you know, it is nice to hear it once in a while from other people who are very professional and, you know, peers that you consider successful as well. And, you know, too many times we face the people who say we can't. So when we come across those who say we can and we believe in you and we appreciate you, you know, I definitely embrace that. So I appreciate all those words.
Well, there you have it, man. Fabian, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show. We definitely want you to come back.
Thank you so much.
Keep doing what you're doing. We're going to really start following your career. Maybe we can have you part 2 soon. Maybe come by the studio next time.
Yeah, we'll give you some passion fruit with tequila.
We'll Angel will make you something.
And some tacos. Taquitos.
Angel, always taquitos. It's always a pleasure to be with you, my friend.
Thanks.
Fabian, let's keep in touch, man. And I got some contacts for you that might help us. Let's do some business together, my man.
Thanks for being on the show.
Let's do it. I appreciate it.
All right, you've been watching the Spanglish Business Show. Thank you so much. Check us out at our website. I'm a little bit tipsy.
Tipsy.
And we'll see you next time, everybody.
That was a concussion. Thank you so much.